This prison enforced an extremely strict policy. Every item sent in by family members was cut in half by the guards. Even a simple bar of soap couldn't escape this fate. All this trouble served one purpose: to completely eliminate any chance of inmates hiding tools and nip any escape attempt in the bud. Because locked up here was a true escape artist. On screen, Mike used a spoon to pry open the baseboard in the corner, retrieving a mirror he'd stashed in the hidden compartment. With a light tap of the spoon's back, the mirror shattered into pieces. Mike picked out one relatively intact shard and quietly pocketed it, while the remaining fragments were wrapped up and quickly flushed down the toilet. But trouble struck without warning. Guards suddenly launched a surprise inspection. Mike reacted lightning fast, immediately slipping the mirror shard into his mouth. The inspection began with inmates searched one by one, then made to stand at the door afterward. This meant the mirror fragments in the toilet would eventually be discovered. Mike remained completely calm and simply pressed the flush button, washing away all the evidence. The sound of rushing water immediately caught a guard's attention. He angrily demanded an explanation, but Mike claimed it was an accident. The guard clearly wasn't buying it and launched a thorough search, turning every corner of the cell inside out, but ultimately came up empty-handed. Once the guard left, Mike grabbed a toothbrush and used string to securely tie the mirror shard to the handle. A concealed yet deadly tool was born. Peering through the peephole in the cell door, he could monitor the guard's every move. Next, Mike removed a bedboard, using the bed leg as a wall-chiseling tool. Working together, they moved the cardboard from the corner, then used a spoon to pry open the floor beneath, with one person using the mirror as a lookout. Mike swung the bed leg repeatedly, striking the floor, but after just a few hits, the loud noise attracted the guard's attention. He wasn't fazed in the slightest, though, because inmates in the neighboring cell were repairing a toilet. The two sounds blended together perfectly, enough to throw anyone off the scent. Sure enough, the guard just walked by without coming in to check. Before long, they'd broken through the floor, creating an opening. With everyone working together, the hole quickly expanded. Mike lit a newspaper and tossed it into the hole. The flame flickered. There was clearly airflow below, meaning the passage wasn't a dead end, though where it led remained unknown. They cleaned up all the debris and dirt, deciding to wait until nightfall to explore further. After restoring everything, a new problem emerged. Guards made regular night rounds. To deal with this, they assembled cardboard into a human shape, connecting the limbs with towels and rope. During late-night inspections, they only needed to gently pull the device to create the illusion of a sleeping inmate. Next, Mike used the spoon to unscrew a bolt and retrieved a small saw hidden in the table corner. With preparations complete, he descended through the hole they'd dug earlier, discovering unexpectedly that below was a spacious underground area, but the way forward was completely blocked by iron bars. Mike remained patient, slowly sawing away, pausing every few strokes to listen for movement above. Half an hour later, he'd silently cut through the iron bars. Mike and his companion climbed through, feeling their way around the underground passage, committing the markings on each door to memory. Just then, two guards suddenly came downstairs for a chat. In a panic, Mike and his companion pressed together, hiding behind the central pillar, engaged in a close-quarters game of cat and mouse with the guards. Fortunately, the guards never noticed anything unusual and eventually left the scene. Once the coast was clear, Mike found a piece of metal and quickly cut it with the saw, then bent it into a makeshift master key. They approached a door, inserted the metal piece into the lock, and to their surprise, the door actually opened. They lit some ink as a makeshift torch and continued deeper into the dark tunnel. But when they reached the end, they discovered the passage was completely sealed with thick cement. Escape seemed hopeless. Yet Mike remained remarkably calm. He scraped the wall with the metal piece, determining that the old cement here had already loosened. If they could just break through here, freedom would be within reach. After noting the exact location, the two headed back. But just their luck, guards began their routine rounds and time was running out. They frantically returned the tools to their places and, without even time to change out of their clothes, quickly dove under the covers. The next moment, guards burst through the door. It was a close call, but they also realized that without precise timing, they'd eventually get caught. After discussing, they decided to create a timing device inside the prison. The next morning, one companion pretended to feel ill and went to the infirmary, stealing 2 glass bottles when the doctor wasn't looking, and grabbed some fine sand on the way back to the cell. However, a guard noticed this. Charlie claimed the sand was for washing dishes, and the guard ultimately believed him. Back in the cell, Mike assembled these materials into the most primitive hourglass. After repeated testing, they found that each complete cycle took exactly 1 hour. When night fell, the operation officially began. Mike drew a huge circle on the wall and grabbed the iron bar to start breaking through the wall with everything he had. Everyone took turns working according to the hourglass timing. In just 3 days, they'd broken through the wall. A companion climbed up the sewer ladder. Outside was indeed freedom. Seeing a taxi not far away, they desperately wanted to escape this prison immediately, but they didn't, because their companions were still below, and if they were leaving, everyone had to leave together. They quickly returned and shared this exciting news with Mike. After a brief discussion, everyone unanimously decided, tonight, the escape would happen. But at this critical moment, a guard suddenly arrived, calling Paul by name to see the warden immediately. The remaining men exchanged glances, immediately on alert, vaguely sensing something was off. The warden then revealed to Paul that his case had been dismissed and he'd be released soon. This news thrilled Paul, but remembering tonight's planned escape, he was suddenly torn. In the end, Paul spoke with the warden for a long time before finally leaving the office. Back in the cell, his cellmates immediately pressed him about the conversation. Paul honestly mentioned the dismissal, but what everyone really cared about was whether he'd still participate in tonight's escape. Paul explained that although the case was dismissed, actually leaving prison would take at least 3 more years. His companions clearly weren't buying it. In their view, after chatting with the warden for so long, it couldn't have been just about that. However, given the trust built over many days together, they ultimately chose to believe Paul one more time. When night fell, everyone changed clothes. Mike lifted the floor panel. The escape was officially on. They descended one by one, while one person stood watch, keeping eyes on the guards' movements. But the moment the companion turned the mirror, he froze completely. Outside the cell door stood a full contingent of armed guards. Accompanied by a terrified shout, the escape attempt utterly failed. 4 inmates were forcibly removed for inspection, while Paul was separately escorted to solitary confinement. Before parting, Mike said something cryptic to Paul. "You poor thing." Though the film ends here, what's truly thought-provoking is how the guards obtained intelligence in advance on the night of the escape. On the surface, Paul appears to be the insider who betrayed his companions, but in reality, he was just a scapegoat pushed forward to take the fall. The entire movie constantly points suspicion toward Paul, while the person truly pulling the strings behind the scenes was Mike, who'd been playing along with everyone the whole time. Whether it was the tools obtained too easily, or his familiarity with the prison's internal structure, everything indicated Mike had it all figured out from the start. His real mission was to cooperate with the warden in completing a perfect case, thereby earning a promotion opportunity. The entire escape plan had been designed in advance. Mike disguised himself as an inmate, secretly guiding everyone step by step into the trap. After the deed was done, Mike was quickly released and even started a business in town, living a profitable and carefree life.